Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome. Ready for a little something different today?
Different? How so?
Well, we usually spend our deep dives digging into a whole book or a long article.
Yeah.
Today, we're going micro, like single verse micro. Think of it as our morning devotion.
I like that. Gotta start the day with something.
Right. So we're looking at a devotional entry simply titled Walking by Faith.
Mm-hmm.
It's from January 19th.
Okay.
And the verse it focuses on is 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7.
Gotcha. Familiar, that one.
But what's cool is this devotional doesn't just give us the verse. It also has a reflection and even a suggested prayer.
Oh, nice. So it gives us a way to actually engage with this idea.
Exactly. And I think this topic, faith, it probably resonates with everyone on some level, even if, you don't consider yourself religious or anything.
Totally. Everyone's got something they're putting their faith in, whether they realize it or not.
So true. But let's get to the verse itself. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. It says, "For we live by faith, not by sight." First reaction. What did that bring up for you?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a powerful statement. It kind of makes you stop and think, right? Like, how much of my life is actually driven by what I can see and touch versus what I believe?
Yeah, there's that tension, isn't there?
For sure. And I think this verse, short as it is, gets right to the heart of it. It's about shifting our focus, not just relying on the tangible, what's right in front of us, but trusting in something bigger, something beyond our immediate perception.
That's such a good point. That makes me think about all the times we have to make decisions without knowing the outcome for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Sure.
like jumping into the deep end of the pool without knowing if there's water in it.
Haha, yeah. A total leap of faith, which, by the way, is exactly what the devotional's reflection emphasizes. It says, faith requires trusting in what you cannot see. Rely on God's promises to guide your steps.
Okay, now, that phrase, God's promises, I know that might land differently for different folks.
Definitely. And we don't have to get into any theological debates here.
Right. But what I get from it is that it's pointing to something bigger than ourselves, something we can draw strength from.
Yes. Like it doesn't have to be a deity necessarily. It could be a set of principles or our community or even just a deep inner knowing, right?
Exactly. And it's interesting thinking about the context of this verse. Paul was writing to the Corinthians, a community dealing with tons of hardship and uncertainty. They were looking for something to hold on to, something to guide them.
And isn't that what we all do when we're going through tough times? We look for that light at the end of the tunnel, even if we can't quite see it yet.
We gotta have something to keep us going.
Right. So this whole idea of walking by faith, trusting in something beyond what we can see, it's not about being passive or burying our heads in the sand.
Oh, no, no, not at all. In fact, the devotional's takeaway is all about action. It says, take a step of faith toward a goal or dream.
Okay, now we're talking. That's where the rubber meets the road. So let me ask you this. What's one thing, big or small, that you've been hesitant to do because you're afraid? You're not sure how it'll turn out.
Ooh, good question. Lots of things, honestly.
Right, we all have those things. But maybe this idea of walking by faith can give us that little nudge we need. It's acknowledging that there's more to this story than what we can see right now at this moment.
It's about trusting the process, taking that step even when we're not totally sure where we'll land.
Maybe, just maybe, that's where the growth happens.
Right. Okay, and before we wrap up, I want to mention the prayer that the devotional suggests. It says, Lord, teach me to walk by faith and trust in your promises. Amen.
Again, the wording might not resonate with everyone, but the feeling behind it, that yearning for guidance, for something to support us, that's powerful.
I think so too. It's acknowledging that we don't have to do everything on our own. Okay, so to sum up our little morning deep dive, we've been talking about the idea of walking by faith, trusting in something beyond what we see. Whether you call it faith, intuition, or just plain hope, it's about choosing to believe, even when the path ahead isn't clear.
And that can be scary. But maybe, like we were saying, that's where the magic happens.
It makes you wonder, right? If everything in life were certain and predictable, would we ever really grow? What role does that uncertainty play in shaping who we become?
Good question. Something to ponder as you go about your day. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Have a great day.
See you next time.